Hey, this is OXDF. When I was solving chemistry from HackTheBox, I was trying to get a reverse shell. And I was using my standard bash reverse shell, and it wasn't working. Um, this is not that uncommon because it breaks sometimes, but I did a good amount of toying around, and eventually I got it to work. And what I did to get it to work was use the full path to bash. So instead of writing bash, I wrote /bin/bash. And there's two places I had to do that. Watching IPSEC's video on chemistry, I was watching him struggle through the same thing I went through trying to get a reverse shell, and something didn't quite sit right with my solution.
And we did a get. We don't have any shell. So
Curl was in the path, but not bash. It didn't seem right. And I was talking to Ip, and he thought, nah, doesn't seem like full path was the issue. If you get a shell and you run the path variable, the bin bash should be there. So, or user bin bash at least, and that's usually a symlink. So it all just wasn't quite making sense. And so I wanted to dive in and figure out exactly what was going on. Now, seeing exactly what's happening in this obscure Python chemistry library isn't really the point of this video. I'm never going to run into that again, most likely. But the goal here is not to settle for I don't understand. We're going to figure out what's going on. We're going to use some Python debugging. We're going to see exactly what's happening. And the process is the point. So we'll learn something. Hopefully it'll be fun. Let's go ahead and dive in. I guess I should start by just a quick, I'll have a full post. I have a full post solution to the box. I'll include a link in the description paragraph stuff. But basically, if I come in here and I register, make myself an account, I can upload these CIF files. I've got two CIF files here. If I cat shell.cif, this is some chemistry format. But the important part here is right here, you can see I've got this almost looks like a server-side template injection, but it's actually a deserialization vulnerability here because I have this serialized payload that when it loads up into Python to create objects out of it, which is what deserialization is, it ends up executing code. So I think it looks like SSTI because this is where these things tend to exist. That I guess in a sense is, well, it's another way user input is run in a Python environment, but this one's a deserialization. So anyway, I've got this here. This is the one that works. If I do a diff on the two shells, I've got shell and shell fail. The only thing that's different here is that one line with the payload, and the payload you can see right here starts with here's bin bash, and here's just bash. Here's /bin/bash, here's /bash. Everything else is exactly the same. And so if we come over here and we grab, I guess we'll grab the failure one first, and we upload it, and we do netcat -lvmp 443, and we try to view it. It crashes, but we don't get a shell. And if we come back here and we upload the good one, we upload it and we view it and we get a shell. We can do echo path. We can see that we do have user bin. We do which bash. Bash is there in user bin bash. Usually if we do ls-ld on /bin, we're going to see that is interesting. Usually that's symlinked. I wonder if it's because I have a bad shell. Usually that's symlinked into user bin. And that's why user bin bash and bin bash work. It might be another copy. Anyway, it doesn't matter. The point is bash should be there. And so we want to figure out what's going on. In solving this box, let's see, I'll make a new window here. I do get a root SSH key. So I usually store that in my keys directory under chemistry root. So now we can just do that at 10.10.11.38. And now we are on his root and we can play with this. The first thing I need to figure out is how is this thing running? Because what I want to do is take it down and then run it in the command line so I can interact with it. So it is, let's see, if we do let's start with a netstat minus pnlp grep 8080 or 8,000, no, 5,000. 5,000. It's this Python process right here. Unsurprising, we figured that out during enumeration originally. If we do a ps aux dub grep Python, we can see there's a few Python things running here. Home app is that. The monitoring, you can see that's running as app. That's the one we just exploited. There's this monitoring site running as root, necessary for the privest. Not irrelevant here. And so let's take a look at home app. First thing I want to do, how is this running? It's almost certainly running as a service. I wonder if we can do ps tree. We did. Cool. Let's see. And here is our Python. Here's our reverse shell running right here. Don't really see much here. Let's go ahead and I do a grep -r on etsy systemd like that for app.py. We'll find, let's see, let's try doing our grep right. If we do app.py in that directory, we'll have there's two system service files that have app.py in them, the two Python web apps I was looking at. So here's the one right here. We can, let's see, cat that. We can see that it's a service. It's running Python 3.9 home app. So if we do service, we can do status to see what's, let's see what service app status, and we can see there's our crashes from uploading the deserialization payload. We can do this and do stop, and that will take down the service. We can verify that by going back here to, I think it's dashboard. And nothing connected. There's nothing running there now. That's perfect. That's exactly what I wanted. So we can do home app there. We can do Python app.py. And there's, let's see, Python 3 app.py. And it doesn't load Flask. And that's interesting. So first thing I'm thinking is like, it's running Python 3.9. What if I just run Python 3? Oh, look, that's Python 3.8. So that's the wrong Python. So let's do Python 3.9. Cool, that's the right one. So now we do app.py. And it still doesn't have Flask. And so what that tells me is, most likely the Flask module is installed under the app user and not root. And that's why root doesn't have access to it. I mean, not that root couldn't access it, but it's not in root standard paths. So what we'll do is we'll do su app, drop the app user. And now if we do Python 3.9 on app.py, it runs. Sweet. And we're back up and running. Perfect. Okay. So, interesting, my stuff got cleared out. There must be like a thing running periodically. So the next question is, I want to breakpoint in this to see what's happening. Now, I know from my research, and from my blog post, when I researched this, that the vulnerability is in a specific file, and it's in the pymatgen module. I think that's already going to be hosted somewhere in the app user stuff. So if I just do a find on the current directory with -name, whoop, stray stuff here. Okay, close. Yeah, okay. Find in the current directory, name pymatgen, like that. We can do it, it should be a relatively quick search, and right there we find the packages, right? So if we do vim .local lib python 3.9 site packages pymatgen. Now I know this is in the symmetry settings file, and if we look for eval, we can find right here on the screen is the place that we exploit. We are taking something we pass in, becomes bias change, and then it gets evaled over here. We're looping over it. So what we're going to do is we're going to come here and we're just going to put breakpoints and run it right there. And we'll exit out of here. We will run it again. Cool. And now when we come up here, we will load, let's load the failure one. Upload, no problem. We hit view, and we hit our breakpoint. Cool. Okay, so we wanted to see the basis change variable. You can see here, this right here. This is all the NumPy array, that outer parenthesis. So inside of there, where you have a list comprehension going from this square bracket to this square bracket, and then this eval to right here is what's happening. So for each x in basis change, we're going to get this whole thing. And so we want, what is basis change? So the basis change, and this is what's so cool about the breakpoints, is we just now can run Python commands and interact with the live environment right at this spot. So basis change is that's not interesting to me. I don't think that's going to crash. I think we can take a next step right through there. We can continue, and boom, we hit it again. So let's see what happens now. Aha, okay, this is where my input is getting processed, and this is going to cause the failure. Now, if I look closely at this, let's see, can I come down here at shell fail.sif? This all looks the same, D for D in thing, blah, blah, blah. There's a star right here. There's a star right here. Fast MRO1, blah, blah, blah. Importer until I get to bin bash. And look at that. That is B star ASH. That was not, I didn't put that there. Somewhere that star got added. And that right there is why this fails, because B star ASH is not a thing. So that's interesting. I guess I have two questions. One, why does it work when I put a full path? And two, where did that come from? Let's start with two first. So when I first started looking at this, what I was saying, okay, I quit here, and we'll come back here. And I just moved, let's see, find my breakpoint, search for breakpoint, and I moved it to the top of this function and started stepping through here. But it's actually pretty clear to see. Basis change gets loaded here. And if I look right here, it does not have the star. But the star gets added in this re.sub right here. And you can in fact see re.sub is taking some stuff it is substituting in a string. The string is being passed in. This re.x, as far as I can tell, is just allowing us to put this extra white space in here that doesn't have to be matched on. It's kind of weird. I don't like it. My OCD does not like that. But if you run without re.x, it doesn't work until you get rid of these spaces. So you have to like allow it to be more beautiful, I guess. Weird. Okay. This is actually 3 different things being ORed. So it has to match on this, or this, or this. This is actually the one we're matching on. If we look at it a little more closely, there's 2 pieces here. This part right here says, now what this question mark angle bracket equals is a forward look ahead, look behind, negative, positive look behind, I believe is what it's called. And what that means is it says, okay, this thing I'm about to match on, it has to be there before the thing I match on, but then don't include it as part of the match. And so what it's saying is if I get a digit or an A or a B or a C before the match, and then something, then, you know, return the match, but don't include this part of it. And then this part, question mark equals, is a look ahead. And it's a positive look ahead that's saying, okay, after the match, if I have an A, a B, or a C, then it can still match. But again, don't include this in the match. And so interestingly, in kind of a weird way, this right here is actually matching on nothing, but only if that nothing has a digit A or A, B, or C before it and an A, B, or C after it. And now that we think about it, bash is BA. So we match on B, nothing, A, and then we replace the nothing with star. And that's exactly what's happening. This is a weird way to do that regex. It's not how I would probably do this with capture groups and then /1 and /2 to reference them, but it works. Like this works. And so this is what's inserting the thing there. Now, why is this happening? I don't know. I'd have to know more about CIF files and what I'm doing with these chemistry and what the input means to figure out why I need to put a star between these. But at least I understand how my payload's getting screwed up and why and how. And I can even do this without being root on the box, actually. If I was pulling up I could pull this library up in this old version of the code and just play with this function a little bit and see, oh, look, things I pass in here are going to get this regex, and I could figure that out. Okay, so this leads me to my next question. Why does my other payload work? And let's take a look at it. Let's go ahead. Can I get out of here? We'll run it one more time. Solve the breakpoint there. We will go back to the dashboard. We will browse and upload the one that does work. I can show you. I think did I show you this one worked already? I think we got a shell. Oh yeah, we got a shell over here, right? Right here. Yeah, we did. Okay. So I don't need to catch it. It doesn't matter. We won't even get there. Control C. Let's see. If I upload you and then view. Okay, we're here. And what is basis change? ABC. We'll just continue. And then I go basis change. And boom, it is there. It is there. And so why does this work? Well, if you think about it, if I type B star ASH into a terminal, it fails because it says, I'm searching across your various folders that are in your path. I'm trying to find a binary called B star ASH. I didn't find it. What do you want me to do? Yeah, on the other hand, if I say /bin/B star ASH, it just ran bash. You can see it just looks like it returned, but I'm in a new bash terminal right now. If I exit from there, I'm now back at my original. I ran bash. And the reason is because as soon as I start giving it a path, I'm saying, okay, go to the bin folder and look for something, and you can use wildcards there. And so if I had something called BBASH or BBBBAAQQ77ASH, it would match on those too, and then it might be confused. I think it takes the first one. I'm not totally sure on that. But because the only thing that matches here is we do ls bin B star ASH. Look at that, it matches on bash. We can even, get rid of now. We matched on bash, Bluetooth, and BT attach. So you can see the star is working just fine. So as soon as I put the full path in there, the star worked, and that's why. Awesome. That's it. So we just did a little exploring. We answered a question. It wasn't an important question to know, but we worked on our process for answering these kinds of questions, and now we understand. And that's always the fun part. So gonna call it there. Thanks for hanging out with me today. I really appreciate you making it to the end of the video. That's an awesome way to support my channel. And I will talk to you next time.